Close your eyes. Take a breath. Now, open them. The air you just breathed is gone. The chair you are sitting in has turned to dust 1,000 times over. The walls around you? They aren't just ruins. They never existed at all. We are about to do something terrifying, something beautiful. We are going to travel 1 billion years into the future. Not a metaphor, not science fiction. We are going to look at the true story of what the universe has in store for this rock we call home. But here is the secret they don't tell you in the movies. You don't want to be here for this. Because 1 billion years from now, Earth will try to kill you. To understand the future, we have to look at the present. Right now, the sun is your friend. It gives you life. But the sun is a bully. Every single second, the sun burns 600 million tons of hydrogen. As it does this, it gets heavier at the core and hotter. Not by much, just 1% every 100 million years. But 1% is a death sentence. Fast forward 100 million years. The continents have shifted. Africa has crashed into Europe, creating a new mountain range higher than the Himalayas. The Atlantic is a narrow lake. But that's not the headline. The headline is the heat. The sun is now 10% brighter. What happens when you raise the global temperature by 10 degrees? Then 20? The Amazon? Gone. The Siberian permafrost? Boiling. We don't need meteors to end the world. We just need humidity. At this point in the true story, the carbon silicate cycle, the planet's natural thermostat, breaks. Normally, rain pulls CO2 out of the air, but it's too hot to rain. It's too hot for rocks to weather. Photosynthesis stops. Oxygen levels plummet. The great animals, the lions, the eagles, the humans, they don't go out with a bang. They just run out of breath. The age of mammals ends not in ice, but in a suffocating, humid whimper. We push deeper. 500 million years. The oceans are retreating. The word sea becomes a myth. What's left isn't blue. It's green and purple. Why? Bacteria. Without plants to produce oxygen, the survivors are the extremophiles. Purple sulfur bacteria bloom in the remaining shallows. They don't need oxygen. They need sulfur. If you could stand on the surface, ignoring the fact that your skin would boil, you would see a sky that looks like a bruise. The atmospheric pressure is dropping. The air is thin. And then there is the smell. Hydrogen sulfide. Rotten eggs. It fills every crack, every valley. This is the sea methane desert. The land is red from oxidized iron. Rust. The rust that formed when Earth had oxygen is now just a scar. But look closer. Look at the rocks. Deep underground, in the pockets of liquid water that still cling to the mantle, something is stirring. This is the era of the last earthquake. Tectonic plates are slowing down. The Earth's interior is cooling. Volcanoes are going extinct. Without volcanoes to pump CO2 back into the atmosphere, the planet can't trap heat. But wait, the sun is even hotter now. We are entering the runaway greenhouse. Venus. That is the ghost of Earth's future. Once the oceans evaporate completely, water vapor, a potent greenhouse gas, fills the sky. The ultraviolet light from the sun blasts that water vapor into space. Hydrogen drifts away forever. Oxygen binds to the rocks. The Earth is dehydrating. Not just drying up, dehydrating. By 600 million years, the oceans are gone. Only a few shallow, hypersaline brines remain near the poles. The pressure of the atmosphere is now crushing, thick with CO2 and sulfur. You are standing on a planet that is slowly turning inside out. But here is the tragedy, the true tragedy of this timeline. Life is stubborn. Desperately, stupidly stubborn. Even when the surface is a 500-degree oven, life retreats. It goes deep. 10 kilometers down, in the aquifers of the crust, chemotrophic bacteria survive. They don't need the sun. They need hydrogen and sulfur. These creatures, if you can call them that, are the last witnesses to the surface world. They have no eyes. They have no concept of the sky. They only know the pressure and the heat. For a few 100 million years, they thrive in the dark. But the sun is relentless. As the sun gets brighter, the atmosphere gets thinner. As the atmosphere gets thinner, the solar wind, a storm of charged particles, starts sandblasting the planet directly. The Earth's magnetic field is weakening. The core is cooling. The dynamo that protects us is stuttering. The solar wind strips away the nitrogen, then the CO2, then the last wisps of argon. The atmosphere is now thinner than the top of Mount Everest. The sky is black, even at noon. The sun is a blinding, angry white disk in a void. The surface pressure drops so low that liquid water cannot exist. It sublimates, turns from ice directly to gas. The last drop of surface water vanishes. And now we reach the end. 800 million years. The last microbe, clinging to a hydrothermal vent in the deep ocean trench, a trench that is now a dry, scorched canyon, dies. The Earth is sterile. Without life, the planet is just geometry, physics. For the next 200 million years, the wind, what little is left, grinds the mountains to dust. The Himalayas become a flat plain. The trenches fill in. Earth becomes a smooth ball, smoother than a billiard ball. The only features left are the ancient impact craters from asteroids that no atmosphere exists to burn up. The moon is further away now. 1 billion years of tidal friction has pushed it so far that eclipses are a thing of the past. It looks like a small gray pebble. There are no seasons. There is no weather. There is only the sun. And the sun is angry. By the time we hit the 1 billion year mark, the sun's luminosity has increased by 10 to 15%. That doesn't sound like much, but for a planet with no atmosphere, it's a furnace. The surface temperature reaches 800 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to melt lead. The crust itself begins to behave strangely. The rock flows like cold honey over millions of years. The last remaining traces of the biosphere, the fossil fuels, the limestone cliffs, the Great Barrier Reef, are now just metamorphic rock. The Great Wall of China? Vaporized. The pyramids? Turned to sand, then glass, then dust. Mount Rushmore? A smear on a molten plain. Every signal we ever sent, every song we ever wrote, every scream, it's all gone. The Earth is no longer a world. It is a rock in a sea of radiation. But this is not the end of the story. This is just the end of the Earth. If you traveled 1 billion years into the future, you would miss the Earth. But you wouldn't miss the show. Because while Earth is dying, the galaxy is waking up. Fast forward 1 billion years. Look up at the night sky, assuming you had eyes. You would see something impossible. The Andromeda Galaxy. It isn't a faint smudge anymore. It fills half the sky. We are colliding. The Milky Way and Andromeda are merging. It's a slow-motion car crash that takes 2 billion years. But at the 1 billion year mark, the tides are beginning. Gravitational forces stretch out the spiral arms. The sun, our dying, swollen sun, gets pulled into a new orbit. It won't crash into another star. Space is too empty for that. But the radiation? The merger triggers a massive burst of star formation. Giant blue stars are born. They live fast and die young, exploding as supernovae. Imagine the Earth, dead, dry, molten, being blasted by a gamma-ray burst from a nearby newborn star. That is the true story of 1 billion years from now. Not a wasteland, a hellscape. We set out to ask, what happens if you travel 1 billion years into the future? The scientific answer is brutal. The oxygen goes, the water goes, the air goes, the magnetic field goes, the mountains go, and finally, the life goes. But here is the part of the script they don't write. If you go 1 billion years into the future, you will find us. Not our bones, not our fossils, but the echo of our existence. Geologists of the deep future, if any existed, would find a thin layer of strange clay buried in the ancient bedrock. A layer of plutonium isotopes that don't occur in nature. A layer of plastics that have been compressed into a black, shiny graphite. They call this the technosphere. Our roads, our cities, our smartphones. Compressed into a layer no thicker than a piece of paper, sandwiched between the rusted Permian red beds and the baked Jurassic limestones. 1 billion years from now, human civilization is not a memory. It is a stratum. A black line in the rock that says, something was here. Something that burned fossil fuels. Something that split the atom. And then, that line gets subducted, dragged under the tectonic plates into the mantle, melted into magma. And then, it's gone. Truly, utterly, cosmically forgotten. So, you want to know the true story? The true story is that Earth has an expiration date. It is not forever. It was never forever. The trees you see outside your window, they are miracles of timing. The rain falling right now, it is a temporary leak in a dying system. We live in a golden age, a 500 million year window where the temperature is just right, where the air is sweet, where the sun is gentle. 1 billion years from now, the universe will not remember the Beatles. It will not remember the pyramids. It will not remember love or war or the color blue. But here is the paradox. The only reason we know this future exists is because we are smart enough to calculate it. We are the only species that ever looked up at a friendly star and realized that thing is gonna kill us someday. And yet, we don't panic. Because 1 billion years is so long that every human worry, every war, every debt, every heartbreak is smaller than a single vibration of an atom. You are made of stardust that survived 1 billion years just to get here. Don't waste the afternoon. This is the true story of 1 billion years from now. It is empty, which makes right now the most precious moment in the history of the cosmos. See you in the future.